My boyfriend used my name, my clients, even my draft apology. I thought I was burning out. Until I found a file with passwords that exposed everything. What would you do if the person you loved quietly became you? I thought burnout was the problem. But now I know it had a name and a password. I'm Casey. I'm 31. I run a freelance branding studio from my apartment, logos, visual kits, web mockups, that kind of thing. 3 years ago, I quit agency life to work on my own terms. I had 10 clients on retainer, and every month was better than the last. Then I met Tyler. You know how they say love shows up when you stop looking? That's how it felt. He was sweet, supportive, said he believed in me more than I did. He even built me a coffee corner with sticky notes that read things like CEO Energy or the world's next big brand. The first time he watched me pull an all-nighter for a launch deck, he brought me tea and whispered, "One day they'll pay 10 times what you charge." And I believed him. He moved in last summer. By fall I was making $8,000 a month. And by winter, I couldn't breathe. It started slow. One client missed a Zoom. Another ghosted after a presentation. A third said, "Can we pause this quarter?" I told myself it was the economy, or bad timing, or maybe I just wasn't fresh anymore. But here's the thing. All 3 of them had something in common. They stopped replying after I forwarded them the same document. Only, I didn't remember sending it. I even checked the file name. It was correct. But the tone of the email? Off, robotic, slightly pushy, like someone pretending to be me. That's when I opened my sent folder and saw messages I never wrote. And if you're thinking, why didn't you have 2-factor authentication? Yeah, same. Because the IP address came from my living room. The username was mine, but the voice was his. I should have known. That week he said, "Babe, let me help. You're so overloaded." I didn't know I was handing him a loaded gun. I reread the email he sent to my biggest client. It ended with, "Payment in advance would be appreciated. We've had flaky clients before." He said we. That night, I installed a keylogger on my own computer. What I found next made me physically sick. The worst betrayals don't scream. They reply to your emails for you. The next morning, I sat down like I was going to work. Only this time, I didn't open Illustrator or Figma. I opened the folder labeled Personal, because that's where he saved everything. From photos to tax docs to random screenshots, he thought he'd need later. That folder had never meant much to me. Until now. I started searching keywords. Invoice. Client. Casey. Template. Then I tried his name. Nothing. Then like an idiot I tried password. And that's when I found it. TXT file. Titled, Backup. Access _. It wasn't just mine. It had Gmail, Dropbox, Notion, Stripe, Upwork, PayPal, my bank. All the passwords, auto-filled and marked by color. Red clients. Blue finance. Green socials. I couldn't breathe. I don't know what you would have done, but I started laughing. Like a high-pitched, shaky, "This can't be real" kind of laugh. Because the man I loved? The man who kissed me between brand drafts and cheered when I hit 10K followers on LinkedIn? He had systematically built a dashboard of my entire life, and never once asked. I wish I could say I stormed into the living room and screamed. But the truth is, I froze. Because now I had to prove what he did. And for that I needed patience. Over the next 3 days I played dumb. I pretended to nap on the couch while he worked in the kitchen. I'd hear little clacks on his laptop, not my laptop, his, and glance sideways just enough to spot tabs. Mailtrack, HubSpot, Wave. He wasn't just pretending to help. He was running an alternate version of me. And here's the detail that haunts me. He didn't forge a new identity. He used mine with better punctuation. He responded faster than I did. Sent cleaner docs. Quoted higher rates. I found one message to a luxury skincare brand. As discussed, my creative director prefers a 75% deposit upfront. Creative director? He was an Uber driver with 2 failed LLCs. By Friday 3 clients were gone. One wrote, "We appreciate your time, but this is not the direction we hoped for." Another said, "Your tone lately feels aggressive. Hope everything's okay." And the third, silence. That one hurt. Because we used to send each other memes during brainstorms. I knew the name of her cat. She sent me a Christmas candle last year, hand-poured. I tried to call. It rang once. Then voicemail. And I knew. He had burned that bridge too. I tried confronting him that night. "Tyler, have you been answering my emails?" He didn't look up from his phone. "Just the boring ones," he said. "You've been so stressed. I figured I'd save you the mental load." I stared. "You figured? Come on." he said, smiling like I was overreacting. I streamlined a few things. You'll thank me later. You ever watch someone casually rewrite your life and still smile like it's a gift? Because that was the moment I realized. He wasn't helping me. He was replacing me. The worst part? He used phrases I had written. My own style against me. It was like being ghostwritten by a doppelganger who hated boundaries. I checked my Stripe dashboard. He'd set up a rule, every new payment routed to his email for confirmation. Just to review. Just to filter scams. But some of those scams had never reached me. $1,400 here. $850 there. Gone. He told me it was a slow month. He told me I had to get more proactive with outreach. And I believed him. I found one of my old notebooks buried in the kitchen drawer. It had a sketch I made years ago, my dream studio's name, Salt and Signal. Tyler had used that phrase in his outreach emails, as if it belonged to him. I finally opened his second laptop. There in his drafts folder was a message. Subject line, apology from Casey, I take full responsibility. But I never wrote it. And it was scheduled to send Monday at 8 a.m. The worst betrayals don't scream. They reply to your emails for you. The next morning I sat down like I was going to work. Only this time I didn't open Illustrator or Figma. I opened the folder labeled Personal. Because that's where he saved everything from photos to text docs to random screenshots he thought he'd need later. That folder had never meant much to me until now. I started searching keywords. Invoice. Client. Casey. Template. Then I tried his name. Nothing. Then like an idiot I tried password. And that's when I found it. A TXT file. Titled, Backup, Access_all. It wasn't just mine. It had Gmail, Dropbox, Notion, Stripe, Upwork, PayPal, my bank. All the passwords auto-filled and marked by color. Red, clients. Blue, finance. Green, socials. I couldn't breathe. I don't know what you would have done. But I started laughing. Like a high-pitched, shaky, this can't be real kind of laugh. Because the man I loved? The man who kissed me between brand drafts and cheered when I hit 10K followers on LinkedIn? He had systematically built a dashboard of my entire life and never once asked. I wish I could say I stormed into the living room and screamed. But the truth is, I froze. Because now I had to prove what he did. And for that I needed patience. Over the next 3 days, I played dumb. I pretended to nap on the couch while he worked in the kitchen. I'd hear little clacks on his laptop, not my laptop, his, and glance sideways just enough to spot tabs. MailTrack, HubSpot, Wave. He wasn't just pretending to help. He was running an alternate version of me. And here's the detail that haunts me. He didn't forge a new identity. He used mine with better punctuation. He responded faster than I did. Sent cleaner docs. Quoted higher rates. I found one message to a luxury skincare brand as discussed. My creative director prefers a 75% deposit up front. Creative director? He was an Uber driver with 2 failed LLCs. By Friday, 3 clients were gone. One wrote, we appreciate your time, but this is not the direction we hoped for. Another said, your tone lately feels aggressive. Hope everything's okay. And the third? Silence. That one hurt. Because we used to send each other memes during brainstorms. I knew the name of her cat. She sent me a Christmas candle last year hand-poured. I tried to call. It rang once. Then voicemail. And I knew. He had burned that bridge too. I tried confronting him that night. Tyler, have you been answering my emails? He didn't look up from his phone. Just the boring ones, he said. You've been so stressed. I figured I'd save you the mental load. I stared. You figured. Come on, he said, smiling like I was overreacting. I streamlined a few things. You'll thank me later. You ever watch someone casually rewrite your life and still smile like it's a gift? Because that was the moment I realized. He wasn't helping me. He was replacing me. The worst part? He used phrases I had written. My own style against me. It was like being ghostwritten by a doppelganger who hated boundaries. I checked my Stripe dashboard. He'd set up a rule, every new payment routed to his email for confirmation. Just to review. Just to filter scams. But some of those scams had never reached me. $1,400 here. $850 there. Gone. He told me it was a slow month. He told me I had to get more proactive with outreach. And I believed him. I found one of my old notebooks buried in the kitchen drawer. It had a sketch I made years ago, my dream studio's name, Salt and Signal. Tyler had used that phrase in his outreach emails. As if it belonged to him. I finally opened his second laptop. There in his drafts folder was a message. Subject line, apology from Casey, I take full responsibility. But I never wrote it. And it was scheduled to send Monday at 8 a.m. He wrote my apology for me. All I had to do was press send. Sunday morning. The apartment was silent except for the hum of the fridge and the sound of Tyler in the shower, singing badly off-key to The Weeknd. I sat at his second laptop staring at the draft. It was perfect. Not in a good way, in the I've written these myself for real mistakes kind of way. Tone, humble, professional, self-blaming. Phrases like, I've been off my game, and my mental health's been impacting client results. Then, I take full accountability for missed deadlines and tone issues. He had even included a discount code. A freaking discount code for my work. That's when I stopped shaking. Because the rage hit. Not loud. Cold. I canceled the send. Downloaded the draft. Took a screenshot. Then opened a new browser window and started collecting receipts. Every transaction. Every client thread. Every shared file tracked through version history and metadata. There it was. Everywhere he'd used my name. I could see the IP. Every email he sent as me had his grammar tells. No Oxford comma, double space after periods, and a weird obsession with the word synergy. But here's where it snapped. He hadn't just hijacked my business. He'd started pitching under my name to new clients I'd never spoken to. Clients I didn't even have. And he was charging more. Using the portfolio I'd built for years, he was running a freelance scam with my face on it. When I checked the source code of one of the PDFs he sent, the file author was Tyler W99. I thought, this man is either stupid or arrogant. But then I realized he didn't think I'd ever check. He thought I was too tired, too grateful, too trusting. He was right. Until that moment. I waited for him to go to the store. Then I did what I never thought I'd do. I messaged Marissa, one of my favorite clients who'd ghosted me last month. I just wrote, Hey, I know this is weird, but did you get an email from me around March 11th? I think someone's been impersonating me. She replied 2 minutes later. A screenshot. Subject line, payment in advance requested, new terms. Then she called. Casey, she said, I thought you were going through something. But honestly, it felt like you were someone else. That message didn't sound like you at all. I didn't cry. I should have. But all I said was, it wasn't. That night, Tyler came home smiling, bag of groceries in hand, humming like nothing was wrong. I was sitting on the couch. Calm. Hey babe, he said. What's for dinner? I looked at him. What's for dinner, I repeated. He paused. His eyes narrowed. Then he shrugged. What's going on? And I said it. I know what you've been doing. He tried to play dumb. Of course. But when I told him I had screenshots, logins, and a client testimony, that's when the mask cracked. He said I did it for us. Like he was sacrificing himself for the greater good of our coupledom. You were burning out. You were losing money. I stepped in. You stole my clients, I said. You sent fake emails and took payments I never saw. I helped, he said. They liked the work. You lied to them, I snapped. And to me. Then came the shift. The voice. The line I'll never forget. Don't pretend you didn't benefit from it. You weren't surviving on your own. That's when I realized he wanted me to fail without him. Because if I didn't need him, he had nothing to offer. I recorded the entire conversation. Left my phone charging under the couch with voice memos running. And when he finally said it, you wouldn't have made it this far without me. I was just speeding things up. I knew I had enough. There was a post-it note still stuck on my computer monitor. It said, You're the magic. He wrote that 3 months ago. I stared at it for a long time. Then peeled it off. That night, I emailed every client he'd touched. One by one, I told them the truth. And then I started filming. I told the truth. And silence answered back. The video was 5 minutes long. No edits. No music. No, please like and subscribe. Just me, sitting on the floor in a hoodie I hadn't washed in days, staring into my webcam like it was a confession booth. I said everything. How I trusted him. How he started helping. How clients vanished, money disappeared, and emails got strange. How I found the file. The draft apology I never wrote. The second laptop. The Stripe reroutes. The discount codes. The lies. I ended it with a screen recording of his fake pitch deck, the one where he used my name, photo, and portfolio to scam a real estate agency in Denver. He even used a line I wrote in a mood board presentation for a dog treat startup. Design is how you make someone feel before they even realize it. He stole that too. I posted the video under an unlisted link and sent it to 8 people. 6 clients. 2 creative industry forums. No drama. No hashtags. Just the truth. Then I waited. First hour, nothing. Second hour, 1 view. Third hour, Marissa messaged. I just watched it. Casey. I had no idea. That's messed up. Do you want me to share this? I said yes. And that's when it spread. By midnight, 2 of my former clients emailed back, one apologizing for doubting me, the other offering to write a testimonial on LinkedIn to correct the narrative. Another DM'd me a screenshot of Tyler's outreach attempt, blocked. And by the next day, the video had 6,000 views. On a channel I hadn't touched in over a year. But here's the thing they don't tell you. Even when people believe you, the pain doesn't disappear. I couldn't just open my laptop and get back to work. Because every tab reminded me of him. Every font, every color swatch, every draft folder whispered his name. He knew how I worked. What I liked. My shortcuts. My passwords. My process. He didn't just take money. He took trust. Not just others' trust in me, my trust in me. You ever sit in your own apartment and feel like a squatter in someone else's life? That was me. I deleted every shared file. Reset every login. Changed bank accounts, called clients, filed a report with the FTC. I even contacted an attorney. Just in case. But the most painful part? The friends who didn't reply. The ones who saw the video. Liked it. Maybe even shared it. But never messaged. Never said, hey, are you okay? One even texted, hope you two work it out. Work it out? He'd stolen my identity and torched my career, and she thought it was a rough patch. So I stopped explaining. Stopped justifying. Stopped apologizing for my pain. I didn't owe anyone an explanation. I started eating dinner at the table again. Started replying to emails again. Slowly, carefully, with hi, this is actually Casey in every subject line. And when I needed to cry, I cried. Not because I missed him, but because I hated that I almost believed him. That I let someone weaponize my exhaustion. My ambition. My silence. Then came the email. From a brand in New York I'd never worked with. Hi Casey. We saw your video. We had an interaction with someone claiming to be you. We're glad we didn't move forward. If you're available for a consult, we'd love to book a call. I stared at the screen. Not because I was surprised. But because for the first time in weeks I didn't feel like a ghost of myself. I said yes. Not because I was ready. But because I refused to stay invisible. I cleaned out the coffee corner he built me. Threw away the post-it notes, the espresso scoop, even the mug that said, hustle harder. Then I placed a new sticky note above my desk. One line. All caps. Not his version. A week later, I got a DM. It was from his ex. The message just said, I believe you. He did it to me too. Want to talk? I thought I was the first. I wasn't even close. Her name was Elise. Her profile photo showed a brunette in a denim jacket, holding a little girl with bright pink sunglasses. I stared at that DM for a long time before replying. Yes. Please. We met in a quiet cafe 3 blocks from my apartment. She walked in like someone who didn't want to be seen but needed to be heard. No small talk. No awkward greetings. Just a tired smile and a line I'll never forget. You're lucky you caught him with emails. She told me her version. Tyler didn't always go by Tyler. When she met him, he was Jay. Same voice. Same smile. Same, I believe in you speeches. He moved in with her 6 months after they met. She was a wedding planner with a decent roster, trying to build an online presence. He offered to help. Let me manage the inbox. You're too busy to deal with bride solace. She laughed, agreed, handed him the keys. 3 months later, her social media was flooded with angry comments. Brides claiming they were ghosted. Deposits never returned. Venues never booked. Turns out, Jay had rerouted everything, messages, payments, calendar invites, all through a clone domain that looked just like hers. And when it crashed, he vanished. With $12,000. I never got the money back, she said, stirring her coffee like it owed her answers. He said it was my fault. That I wasn't managing my brand well enough. That I needed him. My stomach turned. Because those words? I'd heard them too. He said I was nothing without him, I whispered. She nodded. You know what the worst part was, she asked. I believed him. For a while. You ever talk to someone and feel like you're hearing your own diary read aloud? That's how it felt. 2 women. 2 careers. 2 lives. One ghost in the machine, dressed like support, speaking in empathy, operating in theft. She handed me a flash drive. Everything I have, she said. Emails. Screenshots. Even the fake website clone, I saved it. I looked down at the drive. This might actually help me build a case. Or at least, she said, burn his reputation to the ground. That night, I couldn't sleep. I opened every file on that drive. And with every screenshot, every forged invoice, every sent from field he never thought she'd trace, I felt something shift. It wasn't anger anymore. It was clarity. He wasn't clever. He was repetitive. Same tactics. Same scripts. Same language. Same damage. I opened my voice recording app and began drafting something I never thought I'd make. A podcast episode. Just one. I titled it, He Called It Help. And in it, I told everything. My story. Elisa's. The patterns. The playbook. The harm. How manipulation doesn't always scream, sometimes it types for you while you sleep. I ended it with a quote I wrote down that night. He didn't need passwords. He needed permission. And I gave it to him because I thought that was love. It hit 20,000 plays in 3 days. Then a message landed in my inbox. From someone named Kayla. Subject line, I think I dated your scammer. Then another. Then another. He hadn't just done this twice. He'd made it a system. You ever feel like the story that ruined your life is just one chapter in someone else's playbook? I deleted his contact that night. But not before renaming it one last time. Unsubscribe. The next morning, I got an email from a podcast producer. They wanted to interview me. Live. With a legal analyst. And Elise. He stole my voice. Now people were begging me to shut up. The producer's email was short. They liked my podcast. Wanted me and Elise on the air to talk about freelance fraud, digital abuse, and the myth of the helpful partner. Live taping. Real names. They'd handle the legal. They blur details. All we had to do was show up and speak. I said yes. Then I texted Elise. Her reply came 5 seconds later. Let's burn it down. The interview aired on a Thursday. It was supposed to be a 20-minute segment. It ran for 46. We told everything. Our stories. His lies. The way we blamed ourselves. The way people minimized what he did. We talked about manipulation as a service. About love as a branding tool. About the illusion of supportive men who profit off the very women they claim to uplift. We didn't cry. We didn't scream. We didn't call him a monster. We just told the truth in voices that shook but didn't break. It went viral. Clips reposted on TikTok with captions like, he logged into her email and ruined her business. Then gaslit her for burnout. People commented things like, this happened to my sister. We thought she was being dramatic. This is why I'll never let a man manage anything I build. Tell me his name. We need a list. But with the support came something else. The backlash. A friend from college met me. This is messy, Casey. You're better than this. What happened to privacy? A male designer I used to admire tweeted. We need to be careful not to demonize men just because relationships end badly. I know this guy. He's not a criminal. One of Tyler's ex-clients, yes, he had those two, emailed me. This witch hunt narrative feels disproportionate. People make mistakes. Maybe don't air dirty laundry for clout. Clout. That word hit harder than I expected. You ever scream for help and someone accuses you of singing? But I didn't stop. I couldn't. Because the more I spoke, the more stories came out of hiding. Not just from women. From non-binary creatives. From assistants. From interns. All of them had versions of the same story. He offered help. He used my work. He said I was too sensitive. He left me broke. One person emailed screenshots of Tyler bragging in a private Slack channel about repackaging client decks and selling them twice. Another sent me a photo of a folder named Harvested Leads. Meanwhile, Tyler was silent. No messages. No denials. No, you're crazy. But then came the anonymous tip. A burner account. No avatar. One line. You might want to check what he filed with the IRS. I didn't even hesitate. I called the lawyer I'd consulted back in part 4. We pulled records. And there it was. A Schedule C tax filing under MY name with inflated earnings and business expenses for projects I never did. He'd been reporting my work as his income and funneling it through shell accounts. Now it wasn't just identity theft. It was fraud. That night, I found the old invoice template he made for me, the one with TIL and KC Creative in the header. I deleted it. Then made a new one. No shared name. No gimmicks. Just mine. The next morning, the producer called again. This time it wasn't just a follow-up. They wanted to film. A full feature. Title. The boyfriend who became the brand. He built a brand out of my life. I built a life without his name in it. The documentary never made it to Netflix. Not because it wasn't good. Because I said no. The pitch was sleek. The vision was powerful. But something about it felt wrong. They wanted to open with a shot of me crying over a laptop. They wanted Elise pacing in a dimly lit hallway. They wanted drama, grief, rage, all of it framed as spectacle. And maybe 2 months ago I would have agreed. But now? I was done letting anyone else edit my story. Instead, I rebuilt. Quietly. Slowly. Brick by scarred brick. I took a contract with a small ethical skincare brand, the kind that paid on time and sent thank you cards with lavender tea. I stopped chasing viral moments and started chasing clean spreadsheets. I deleted half my social media. Not out of shame, out of freedom. There's a difference between disappearing and choosing peace. I started designing again. Not because I had to. Because it was still mine. One afternoon, I pulled out a dusty sketchpad from the back of my shelf. Page 1, the Salt and Signal logo I had drawn years ago. Back when I still believed in starting my own agency. back before Tyler touched it. I added one small line underneath in pencil. Not stolen. Not for sale. You ever reclaim something you thought was too tainted to touch again? That's what healing feels like. Not fireworks. Not revenge. Not even justice. Just the quiet, mundane return of your own voice. Elise and I still talk. She left her wedding planning business for good. Started consulting for small female-led teams that needed help untangling digital messes. She calls herself a tech trauma doula. I think it's genius. Last month, we met up and bought matching rings off Etsy. Simple silver bands with tiny lightning bolts engraved inside. I love the symbolism, she joked. It's the quiet zap. The final jolt that wakes you up. As for Tyler, he finally resurfaced. Not in a courtroom. Not in an apology. In a YouTube ad for a digital marketing course for freelancers. New name. New smile. Same tactics. I watched 30 seconds before hitting skip. Not because it didn't enrage me, but because he's not worth the full view. Let him chase algorithms. I've got real clients. And my name back. I got a new email address last week, when no one else has. The welcome message said, "You're all set, Casey." And for the first time in months, I believed it.